Welcome. Welcome back. It's for a school board seat, so kind of taking up a little bit of time and a little bit occupied, but that's quite literally what happened last week, and I wanted to get up and do more, just haven't been able to. So again, apologies to you, but we are back and ready to go on a Monday night to get you into this week. Now, so bear in mind, we've got roughly what we in the military used to call, this is the way we did it, 14 days in a wake-up, right? So normally you'd say like today's Monday, so we got 15 days to election day. But basically you have 2 weeks and then the wake-up for the next morning. So 14 days in a wake-up. All right, that's in essence what we have until election day, November 3rd of a couple weeks, 2 weeks in a day from today. So this is one of those instances and those items, and some of you will understand this, where like things are, you know, and I've been saying this for a long, long time, longer than this election cycle. Things will get uglier before they get better. That is the nature of these things being political and people scrambling or scrounging or fighting tooth and nail for their place or position. All right, and we're talking about politicians, we're talking about people in general. They want to hold on to what they have without having to give it up to someone else, either someone beating them in a race or someone removing them from position. All right, so that's generic. So for all of you out there that immediately go to, oh, you talk about Trump. Yeah, I'm going to do that too. That's easy, because he's easy to talk about. He talks all the time. And my rule on Donald Trump, our president of the United States, is if he didn't want the damn attention, then he should shut his mouth. Simple rule. That's the way I was raised. Don't open your mouth if you don't want attention. See how that works? I had a smart mom, by the way, really smart. So anyway, that's the way this thing works, whether you're Democrat or Republican, left, right, liberal, conservative. That's just the reality. People don't want to give up their positions. They don't want to give up what they have, and they don't want to give up what control they have of a thing or a position or a power. In this case, we're talking about, again, politics, right? Political. And that's the same for business and others. But again, when it comes to the political world, the stakes are always much, much higher. They're as high as they can be. Life and death, and definitely in this case, life and death. But nobody wants to give that up, so they fight tooth and nail. And that means that people will say or do anything to maintain and hold those positions. That's an absolute truism. That has never changed. 5,000 years of recorded history, at least that I'm aware of, in my prior life as a history teacher, that hasn't changed. And I have a sneaking underlying suspicion that that's probably never going to change. That's just the nature of who we are, okay? So then it breaks down to, if everybody's like that, and if everybody does that, if absolute power corrupts absolutely, then how do we ever prevent that, or how do we ever stop it? The reality is you can't stop it, but you can minimize, and you can hold it off or make it less. And that is quite literally the situation, the status quo, the state in which we are present day right now, okay? So the whole point to today's 10-minute show is, I think this might be the last one I deal with specifically on the coronavirus, the novel coronavirus of 2019. This might be the last time I deal with it specifically, other than generically telling you what the numbers are, telling you what the havoc it has wreaked. Because there are some underlying things that I've seen and that I didn't want to believe, but all evidence placed on the table forces me to a conclusion, a logical conclusion. Should have did that. And then from something that I posted, and remember, some of you guys I've told, in my group, the Supermex Nation, and I'm happy to say we're over 1,000 members now, didn't even realize that, but wasn't really trying to grow it. It's just grown organically. People are coming to it. It's not all the same people. It's a bunch of different types of people, but it has grown. And I use Supermex Nation, the group, as a filter / sounding board for my ideas and thoughts. I post something, I see where it goes, and then I try to understand or read and internalize the differing views and opinions and points that I see there, who likes or dislikes, who comments or not comments. And then I make my decisions based on what I believe. And then most of the time they end up and manifest themselves in a 10 minutes of truth show. Such is the case today, and I submit for your approval, if not your acceptance, I submit for your approval today's show. and I'm going to do this generic term because we got to do this in 10 minutes, and I normally go over, well over 10 minutes. I make it 15 or 20. But I'm going to try to get this done. So the virus, the novel coronavirus, is it Darwin or is it incompetence? Question mark. The question, the underlying question. I learned a long time ago, it's far easier to ask a question of an individual than make a hard-line, bold statement. Because involuntarily, the individual is most likely to respond in a negative or not accepting and not agreeable fashion. So ask the question. And by the way, the question format is tried and true, timeless, thousands of years old. And you place the question in front of the individual or individuals and then let them hash it out. And then what comes out of those multiple answers or scenarios, theories, processes, hypotheses, ends up being good thought from which you can take, internalize, and come up with your own good thought in summation. And that's quite literally what I do. So there's the question to you. Because today I posted something and immediately I got the, again, literally knee-jerk, involuntary response of, because I'll say it, science and fact, age of reason, 1600s, a logical process, deduction, answer, and you do things on a rational basis, okay? Not out of emotion, which was kind of funny today because someone actually tried to tell me that they were saying something out of rational thought, not emotion. Yeah, right, when it's convenient. So here you go. Whether you agree or not, whether you want to admit to it or not, Americans are dying. For the record, I say Americans because I'm American and we're in this country. But I don't like the fact that Americans and others are dying all over the world, not just our country, okay? So put that on the table first. And the most disturbing, fact/trend/reality/fact is that Americans are entirely comfortable, some, with their fellow Americans dying, to the point that they can't even acknowledge the death, or they minimize the death, or they make excuses for the death, or they can't admit that it's actually that many. They try to make the number less. And so I ask generically, if it were 100,000, would it be okay? If it were 200,000, would it be okay? Death is part of life. No big mystery, no earth-shattering revelation there. But when it's preventable, and there are things that could have been done on a leadership level, then yes, you have free reign and free ability to question and judge. And I will judge. That is my choice and my right to do so. Okay? So all that's left at this point is to look at numbers, observe data, and hypothesize and put forward your thought. And here we go with my thought. Let's get those numbers up. The simple that we've been doing the entire time that we've done the 10-minute show. American deaths, in excess of 220,000 Americans. Before this month is out or into early November, we will have reached 250,000 Americans dead, damn it, dead. Yes, that many. This will be one of the single most catastrophic accountings for American life in this short a window as anything we've ever lived through as a country. Exacerbated and made worse because a large portion of that number was preventable. And that's not emotion, that's not lack of reason, that's not arbitrary judgment, that is science and that is fact. That is fact. Exacerbated and made worse by the fact, see how that works? Facts, John Adams, stubborn things they are, by the fact that other countries, far less capable in resource, far less capable in medicine, far less capable in industry, far less capable in a variety of things, but way more capable and way more credible in leadership, did a hell of a better job than we did by far. We are the most advanced technologically, medically, economically, and a variety of other things country on the planet. Period. I'd even do the full stop thing if I were that guy. Period. No debate, no argument, fact. And we couldn't prevent 220 plus thousand Americans, and worse, it's still climbing. And all I've got is Americans, fellow Americans, making excuses for the worst leadership failure of American loss of life in the history of a constitutional republic. 244 years. Period. It's in evidence. When history judges us and the books are written, it will be a ruthless and cold, emotionless judgment of this period and its leadership. Done. So all that's left is, go ahead and remove, I hate seeing that debt number, $27 trillion. But Donald Trump's the deal maker, right? While our national debt keeps skyrocketing. Let me do that again. Hey, millennials, gotta love that national debt, right? 27 million, here you go, here's your present. That's what we're doing for you. We're gonna hand you the keys to the jalopy, not the 57 Chevy. Give me the image of Darwin. For those of you that are unaware, don't know, or were deprived of a quality education, the gentleman over here on my left, your right, Charles Darwin, principally known for On the Origin of Species and Darwinism, which has to do with genetics and survival of the fittest. That's where we get this generic term, survival of the fittest, meaning in a species, those that have the ability to adapt and overcome will survive. And here is where I'm at. Either this administration and this president are stupefyingly and remarkably, incredibly, and I can go on with a whole bunch of other descriptives, just flat out incompetent, amazingly stupid, blatantly incapable of governing and taking care of the American people. And I can kind of believe that, because we have a lot of evidence on the table, by the way. Again, we will be judged, not right now, but in the future. We will be judged by historians adequately, even if you don't want to hear from me right now. Either we are all that, or someone, something, some motion, some process, some belief, some theory, some hypothesis, some process has managed to insert this gentleman's beliefs into our coronavirus reaction and policy. And I'm going to tell you why. See these little hands? See this face? It's a little darker than light. It's a little lighter than dark. But the color of this skin represents the people that have taken it quite literally to the coffin. Because brown folk, Hispanics, Latinos, Mexican Americans are dying in greater numbers than any other subgroup in this country. Right behind them, black folk in staggering numbers in relation to others. Now, there are a lot of reasons. I don't have time to do it here because we've got to wrap up. It's a 10-minute show and it's going on long already. Bottom line is, poor folk, minorities, and brown folk in particular are dying in greater numbers than any other subgroup in the country right now. Yeah, think about that. Social Darwinism? Oh, hell no. Let's just skip to the good part. Let's just go straight Darwinism, right? Survival of the fittest. If those brown folk and those poor and those minorities and those other subgroups, because they don't have access to quality health care while the president tries to kill pre-existing conditions in the court and lies about it on camera, if they don't have the health care they need, if they can't survive the fields in which they work to provide us the food that we eat, then they're just not fit enough to survive in this country. And since we all know that brown folk make up the fastest growing and largest increasing number in population in America, well, how do you combat that? Let's insert a little Darwinism in the form of a biological agent called a novel coronavirus 2019. Let's let that virus kill them off. Oh yeah, I'm saying some things and you're going to have to think about it. Some of you might light me up on this comment or get on here, and I wish you well. Go ahead, do so. I'm good. Give me a call. Let's talk. Don't talk about me. Come talk to me. I enjoy the conversation, but I'm dropping it on the table. It was done in policy, by the way. There's no mistake here. There are no games being played. These are policy decisions made by an administration that is knowingly killing off Americans. Yeah, I said it. If you don't like it, too bad. Matter of fact, go watch somebody else. Or give me a call and we can have that discussion. See? Let me do it again. That's going to be a shirt. Don't talk about me. Talk to me. Come on. Come on. Message me. You ain't getting no DM from me. You know, this ain't it free. That ain't going to happen. Darwinism, at its blatant, most raw form, couched in sheep's clothing in the form of a novel coronavirus. Yeah. Let's not do the social Darwinism. Let's just go straight to Darwinism and watch it kill off Americans. And it's doing a pretty damn good job, by the way, at least in terms of killing brown folk. That's something for you to think about. Is it Darwin? I think so. I know so. Evidence keeps mounting. Evidence is adding up. It's not going anywhere. Facts are stubborn things. Is it incompetence? I think so. Evidence keeps adding up. Evidence keeps mounting. Is it an ugly, amorphous combination of both? Probably. Leans one way then another, depending on the news cycle. If that's a little too much for your brain to scatter and moan, apologies. But think about it. Those of you that understand, you're probably the ones that are okay with it. You won't be wanting to watch my show anymore. Unless it's to be a keyboard warrior, pop off, say your piece, talk smack, talk big, and then leave. Here I am. See what Brown can do for you. Darwinism or incompetence. There is no other choice. There is no other answer at this point. There's your virus. Yeah. That's my show for tonight. I'll see you later in the week because we're going to do more. Why? Because we need to. Facts need to come out. Number love for you. Supermax is out.